Trouble with the Law. This is a song called Cheetah Bells.
Next stop's in Springfield, Massachusetts on Tuesday night. And you can bet Skid Row's Sebastian Bach wishes it wouldn't, because when Bach is in Springfield, he'll have to face assault charges stemming from an incident of concert violence just over a week ago, in which he allegedly threw a bottle into the audience during the band's opening set for Aerosmith at the Springfield Civic Center. Bach, who was apparently angered when a bottle was thrown at him from the audience, retaliated by throwing the bottle back and hitting a 17-year-old girl in the face while his band played the angry anthem, Piece of Me. The young woman sustained facial cuts and fractures. The singer then allegedly jumped into the crowd, kicking a male member of the audience in the chin, and after being retrieved by roadies and getting back on stage, bragging about beating up the guy who he thought threw the bottle in the first place. At an arraignment in Springfield the next day, Bach pleaded innocent to 1 count of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and 2 counts of simple assault and battery, and he was released on $10,000 bail. Outside the court, an eyewitness gave her account of the incident, and Bach's attorney was asked whether any attempt had been made to contact the young woman who was injured.
Not at this point, but I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. I know that he's quite upset about what transpired.
As far as I could see, someone threw a bottle from the audience, threw a bottle up at Sebastian and hit him, and he got mad. And I didn't see him throw the bottle back down, but I saw him jump right out to the crowd. You know, I don't know.
Bach turned up in a suit and tie on Tuesday at a criminal court in Springfield, Massachusetts. In a rare non-speaking appearance, Bach was arraigned under his real name, Sebastian Birk, on charges of assault and mayhem that carry with them total maximum sentences of 35 years in prison. Bach has been free on $10,000 bail since his arrest following a concert in Springfield on December 27th, at which he was struck on stage by a bottle hurled from the audience. Bach hurled the bottle back, allegedly striking a 17-year-old girl, and then leaped boots first into the crowd, allegedly kicking another fan in the chin. The girl, a minor whose name is being withheld, was treated at a local hospital for facial cuts and bruises. Bach was arrested after the show by Massachusetts State Police, who pulled him over in a car in the town of Westfield, 15 miles away from the Springfield Civic Center. Our man John Norris was in Springfield on Tuesday, and here's his report.
All right, thanks, Kurt. You know, it was an unusual quirk in Skid Row's tour schedule with Aerosmith that found them making their second trip to Springfield, Massachusetts in 2 weeks. For Sebastian Bach, that meant a second trip here to the Hampton County Hall of Justice. It all stems from an incident of concert violence that allegedly took place December 27th over at Springfield Civic Center. That's the night that Sebastian allegedly responded to being hit by a bottle thrown from the audience by throwing a bottle back into the crowd and seriously injuring the face of a 17-year-old girl. He then allegedly jumped into the crowd and kicked the chin of a male member of the audience. Even for a guy with a rowdy reputation like Sebastian's, these are pretty serious charges. The name on the court docket read Sebastian Birk, but everyone knew who the defendant was. Metal's #1 sex symbol, uncharacteristically decked out in a jacket and tie, was moved to an upstairs courtroom to avoid a crush of fans. But there were no smiles as he heard the full slate of charges against him. 2 counts of assault and battery, 2 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, and 1 count of mayhem. Bach's plea, not guilty to all charges, and his attorney would not say much more than that as they left the court.
Today, Sebastian has pled not guilty. By his plea of not guilty, Sebastian has said that he is not guilty of the criminal charges filed against him. This case is going to be tried in the courts, and there will be no further comment made by the defense until the conclusion of the case. Thank you.
3 of the 5 charges against Sebastian represent a maximum jail term of 10 years. The most disturbing among them may be mayhem, a charge of violence in which maiming or disfigurement is involved. That charge, of course, arises from the young woman hit by the bottle, who reportedly suffered severe facial cuts and bruises. As recently as yesterday, the Springfield City Council hinted that it might try to keep Skid Row off of tonight's bill. That never happened, to the delight of Skid Row fans, who, despite the incident, are sticking by Sebastian.
I don't think he should go to jail or nothing or get arrested. That's not right. It's not his fault for somebody that threw the bottle and hit him in the head with it.
Well, I guess he could have dealt it differently, but I know if it was me, I would have went right after him, too.
If they want to be just, they should get the guy who threw the bottle.
And several people we spoke with said that bottle was thrown as the result of a bet.
They're standing next to us. They're like, oh, I bet you can't hit Sebastian Bach. I'll bet you $50 you won't be able to hit him with the bottle. And then they threw it, and I guess they did hit him.
But what was a bottle doing in the arena in the first place? Apparently, the Springfield Civic Center does not check concert audiences for bottles and cans, as many venues do. Fans say that's negligent, and indications are Sebastian's lawyers will say the same. Civic Center spokesman Mike Graney says the arena's policy of not checking for bottles is a result of another court decision.
There was a suit brought against the city, I think 10 years ago, challenging the city's right to search on civil rights grounds. There was an agreement reached in that suit, and that agreement governs our policies and what we can and cannot do. I think there's some sense on several people that we think that should be modified, but as it stands right now, there's a federal court decree that says we can do this and we can't do some other things. We follow that decree.
So are you more, as far as you know, restricted than, say, other cities and other venues in other cities?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
As for the girl who was injured at the concert, Skid Row's manager Scott McGee tells me that Sebastian has yet to meet with her, but he says he's very concerned about her and would like to do so. As for Sebastian himself, well, he's out on $10,000 bail once again, as he has been for the last 2 weeks. The tour with Aerosmith continues, and a trial date has been set for here in Springfield on May 15th. In Springfield, Massachusetts, I'm John Norris for MTV News.
The girl that Bach allegedly hit with that bottle is rumored to have required 40 stitches in her face, but there is no official account of the exact extent of her injuries. As John just mentioned, Bach pleaded not guilty to all 5 charges against him. However, one of the fans on hand that night managed to smuggle a video camera into the show, and he captured the whole incident on tape. And here, with Bach's customary litany of curses bleeped for TV, is what actually happened.
I don't know what his name is. Who the f did that, man? Who the f did that? There's nothing in it. Was that you? Was that you? If you're so tough, I dare you to come up here right now and give him a piece.
Sebastian Bach and Skid Row on stage in Springfield, Massachusetts. We're going to break for some corporate communications, but we'll be right back with Giovanotti, a hot new band called Snatches of Pink, and a look at this year's Grammy Award nominees. So don't go away.
Outside my window, there's a whole lot of trouble coming. The cartel killers and the rag-covered clothes. Snatching is kicking the rhythm of social circumcision. I can't close the closet. A lot of shivers for love. Rachel Bowen on the bass right here. Gasoline gypsies and seal like old schools, twins to the society. But here off in a hot beating cheap alibis can't get you by, but I don't know. That's right.
Dude, amazing. This was Skid Row. We got an interview to come, and we got another tune with a special guest with Hanging with MTV returns. Thanks for coming by. So, on the 22nd of this month, you got Skid Row B-side ourselves coming out, and this is a really interesting idea. This is like each one of you. Yeah, hang on.
Don't hurt yourself.
It's like the horns.
Exactly. So each one of you picked a song from like a classic band and then re-recorded it with the band. Why don't you tell me, each one of you, which song you picked and why?
Well, Scotty kind of got burned. I picked Little Wing. I picked Little Wing, but what one did you pick, bud?
I picked Play That Funky Music by a band called Wild Cherry.
Yeah, and you should hear this piece of white toast try to sing that too. It's not. I was a boogie singer. I don't think it's me.
Rob Halford sang a little better, so we used that.
Yeah.
We used that cut instead.
Yeah, how'd you hook up with Rob Halford? He's singing on Delivering the Goods, Judas Priest tune, and how'd you hook up with him?
Actually, he had a band called Pantera. I'm sure you guys have all heard of Pantera, right? Judas Priest took them on the road in Europe, Painkiller tour, and so Rob was out hanging with Pantera for about 4 days, and we had met Rob before, but hadn't really jammed with him. So one night in Phoenix, he did a song called "Riding on the Wind" with Pantera and Kerry King of Slayer, and then after that, he did "Delivering the Goods." What?
And me.
Oh, you can't do it? Let's hear it for the Snakes!
Oh, and it's Snake's birthday tomorrow, so like pre-happy birthday, everybody.
What's that?
Pre-happy birthday.
Oh,
it's
thanks,
your birthday
man.
tomorrow, definitely.
That's it
It's today. Happy birthday. So what other tunes did you put on the EP?
Rachel?
Ramon Psychotherapy.
Rob?
You make your singing debut on this, so like how'd that come about?
I don't know. It just happened. I dig the Ramones. I always did. You know. That's called out sick that day. Yeah. I ain't gonna sing no punk rock songs. So we just did it with all these tunes. With the exception of Delivering, we just learned them in the lounge of the studio and just went right in and did it. So it was cool.
Yeah. Were these like big sound check songs before you put them on the B-sides record?
No.
Not really.
We tried Little Wing and Soundcheck one time, but let's not talk about that.
The time we tried it live.
Yeah. But no, we just, we were kind of bored, on days off. We said, funk it. Let's go in and record a couple tunes.
Well said.
And it's like, we had it planned for release in Japan, but the record company heard it over here. We did a song called Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix, and Doug Morris heard that, and he says, "Hey guys, you're putting it out here." So.
Cool. So you've been on tour for almost a year and a half now. You've been all over the place, and you're about to head to Southeast Asia and Japan. Now, looking back on what you've done on the world tour so far, what kind of sticks out in your mind?
Donington.
Yeah.
Which was the most recent, high point. It was pretty amazing. It was like, growing up, Donington is one of those things that you just look forward to as a musician to hopefully just get a chance to see. And then when you're actually a part of it, and second on the bill to Iron Maiden and playing with great bands like Slayer, The Almighty, and so on and so forth, it's a thrill to say the least. So that was like the biggest high point as of late.
This is a pretty good one too, man.
Yeah.
I'm having fun today. You guys having fun?
Everybody's going nuts. Hey, how's Paris doing?
Paris is doing great. Paris is doing great. He wants to come jam sometime.
Ah, dude, it's my show. I say will be so. Well, thanks for coming by. We got to get you ready for another tune. They're going to be playing a classic tune from Judas Priest in a bit, and we might just have a special guest. Not quite sure. Please welcome Skid Row, everybody. So now it's on with the videos. This is Slaughter and Real Love, in at number 3. Guess back to perform. Keep going. It's all right. Delivering the Goods from the upcoming EP B-Side Ourselves, which I'm holding right now. You should check out. All right, hey. This is Skid Row and special guest Rob Halford from his new band Fight. Skid Row! Come on! Tonight
So you listen. Hasta aquí no para de shoot it further, give it more than you're ever gonna take. Leaving your kids pressed down on the ground, begging for mercy. Be careful, don't do it some more. You better watch out and hold on tight. Prepare your way to take the fight. So, claim in the guns. To claim in the guns.
Skid Row and Rob Halford, the man. Yeah. All right, we got lots more hanging. We get